Oh, you just have to click the button and then it turns green.
Okay, because other times.
Yep.
Been
All right. Welcome to the Downtown Management Board, April 18th, 2023, and call to order this meeting at 6 o'clock. First on the agenda, we have the consent agenda. We have the approval of the regular meeting minutes. That was March 21st. Payment of the March bills and acceptance of the March expense, income and income reports. Does anybody have any questions or comments on those? Or would like to make a motion to approve these?
I will make that motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much.
So Robert, I would just add that I have been busy reformatting these, so you're gonna see, they hadn't been done for years and years and years and years. And I want to get that done before I go. So you can see programs and services is in a different format than it has been. And it's bigger print and you can read it. And next month I'll get to the parking fund. I don't know how that got to be so small, but
Lots of information.
yeah.
All
It
right.
looks like we have some public.
Yes, we have some public comment. No? Oh, okay.
Is there any public comment? I guess.
Is there any then online? No? All right, well, then we will move on, but welcome to our meeting. Thank you. For new business, and we're gonna go with reports by the Downtown Management Board committees, which that turns over to Becky.
Okay, this is a short meeting. We did not have, the parking committee was unable to meet this month because of, people on vacation and other commitments, and the same thing happened to the marketing committee. So they are not in your packet because they did not meet. It is April, people go on vacation, so they deserve it. The organization task force did meet, and those notes are in your packet, and I'm sure you probably reviewed them. I will add to what you have in your packet, or if you have any questions from what's in your packet, that I'm still searching for office space. I've gone back to couple of the ones that we talked about with different proposals to them. Andy is still at the co-working space. She I don't know, she likes it. She works remotely as well. Their copy machine is not yet hooked up, so she's not able to print yet, but she can always print at our office, and we're doing the best we can with it. They still haven't sent us a bill or signed us up, so we might even be out of there before we have to pay for it.
They like having someone, so, but it's cute, it's nice, it's convenient.
Yeah, and we've met there a couple times. We had a Zoom call there the other day, and they have a little private room for it, so it's an experience.
How many people are in this space?
Me.
Do you see, just you?
One,
There's me and the two guys that own it, and then I think maybe one of their employees, but I'm not really sure if he works for them or not. But people go in and out, but
Yeah.
mostly just us three. So
Just curious.
trying to get them to do an ad in the shop, and then I think that would be good exposure for them.
well, and especially with all the summer people that get the map,
Yeah.
then they're looking for him. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So. So what I've been doing this month is also working with Andy to get her reacclimated. It's been fun, and she'll talk more about what she's been doing when we get to her. I want to let you know that an update from Malted Vinyl, who were here for their liquor license, redevelopment license before, have decided not to pursue that license. They were able to purchase a license, a regular classy license, and they like the value in that. So they've done that and they're moving ahead with that. So they did not get the redevelopment license, and they're actively working in there, moving ahead and plan a date to move in sometime before the 1st of June. So that's always good to hear. On another note, if you've noticed that the EVC charging stations, electric vehicle charging stations, have been gone from the Darling lot. The city, we might have talked about this before, but the city, Mike Robbins wrote a grant and he was able to get new stations. So we're going to replace those two. Two more are going in the Elks Lot at the end down by the jail, down by the Perry, right outside the door to the jail. And so Mike has been working diligently to get these to go through the electric system at the city, to set the fees to go up with what the electric, to get them in the electrical rate of fees that the city has. And then also to make sure that we get paid what we would normally get paid for renting this parking space. We've had a couple meetings together about that. And then the next step will be that their software that they use needs to integrate with the software that we use so that we can enforce on those charging stations. But I'm glad to see that we have 4. I kind of agree that that might be the magic number right now. Maybe someday we'll need 200, but right now, judging by what we're seeing, how much we saw the others were used, I think 4 will be a good number for this year. Yeah.
Is that electric vehicles only in those?
Yes,
spots then?
right,
You have to pay.
You
for
have,
the
yeah,
charging.
right. So that's why I don't want any more than
Yeah.
too many, because we don't want to give up for that, so.
Can I have a quick question?
Sure, I would love to answer questions, yeah.
I was just down at the governor's conference on
Yes.
tourism. And there was a lot of conversations about different grant programs being available specifically for our area and the rural part of the state to be able to add it into the budget on the state level. So there might be some additional grant funding.
For EVC, yeah. Yeah, fortunately, Mike did get, because these are they're updates of the machines that we had, and he wrote that grant and he did get some. Yeah, we'll have to look at that because I know it's the wave, I know it's coming, everything I read, pretty soon I'm gonna be driving one too, so.
It just sounded like a priority that was talked about a lot, so there might be
Yeah.
some.
You should give us a little report on what you learned.
Yeah, turn your mic on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, turn your mic.
It was great. Overall, accessibility was a really big theme. So I think that's a really good direction that we're taking on the board. Just because it was accessibility on really all facets in terms of, EV charging was a big component. There's a lot of discussion on, different ways to get around town once you have, if you're in an electric vehicle or something like that. That's a big component all the way from, all aspects of travel. So from airlines down to walking across the street. Not that you need an electric vehicle to do that, but anyway. So that was a pretty big common theme throughout. I think overall the climate sounded pretty positive for the state of Michigan. They talk about the Pure Michigan campaigns, and so they're able to reinforce a lot of the more like foreign travel components that they weren't able to re-engage since COVID. So things like their Europe campaigns are back on. Canada has been really, really big. I don't know if you guys noticed it as well, but we get a lot of Canadian travel right now. And that's coming back full force that they're noticing. So pretty good things overall. Obviously it's nice to represent Petoskey there. So
Because everyone says, oh, you're from Petoskey.
yep, that's very true.
I know.
Was there a lot of representation from our area?
Yeah, we had the Visitors Bureau was there.
Yeah.
And so that was a pretty strong representation. A couple other, organizations like ours went. But yeah, no, it was good. So
Cool. Thanks. Just a couple more things here. I did meet with John from Parks and Rec and in the livery lot. You know that we had $6,500 in our budget this year to do some re-landscaping there. And I just kind of asserted myself. I said, if this is our money, then we should be able to have some say in how it's spent. John and I decided that we're going to, if you are standing looking at the buildings, which I'm going to say is the back of the lot because you enter by the street, off the street. At the two edges are these utility boxes that are not shielded from anything. They have some sticky, pruny, non-evergreen bushes that don't hide them. So we're going to put cedars around there. There's a carpet juniper that's underneath this row of crab trees that are lined against the back. That we're going to pull that out and add rock and landscape fabric so that we can keep the weeds down. John wanted to replace all of the crab trees that are there. On this side, they look a little shorter than they do on this side. But I think these are mature and they're not going to grow that much more, and these probably will. So maybe I said, let's just wait for one more year and see, because there's not enough money to do that this year anyway. So we might be coming back with, but we've already put 4 big shade trees in there that are quite good size for a first early planting. So that lot could look a lot different this summer and get cleaned up well. And I was pleased about that. And the work at Mitchell Street in 31 is well along its way. I have received one comment from someone saying, what the heck? Why are you taking out? And when I wrote her back and explained the reasons why, she said, oh my gosh, I should have, and it was the nicest reply. I should have known that there was a reason. I'm so glad you took the time to write to me. And she said, I see exactly what you mean when you say that. So, I think we're really going to be glad about that. Every time I come up, it's just like it's like, why would you go this way? The road goes this way. You know, this is the afterthought, and into downtown is the real thought. So,
Yeah, it looks like an entirely,
Yeah.
I think we're coming back into town from maybe being on spring break. And it was like, what? It's just, it opens it up. And yeah, it looks amazing.
yeah, I'm really pleased about that. And that was work from this board that advocated for that and paid for a lot of that too. So
did Ben get the first cut?
did what?
Ben get the first cut?
He would have liked it. There is one tree that is standing there now that was going to go down, and I said that doesn't need to go down. Leave that there, and it looks almost like a monument tree now. I'm glad that they did, and I was pleased that I had the guts to say it and that they paid attention to me. So, the last thing I was going to talk about before we'll let Andy talk is I did put out to the downtown through the Facebook page of the MailChimp that Match on Main grants were available this year. And we had a small amount of interest. And then there were people that wanted to do things that didn't really, that weren't the purpose of the grant and wouldn't have been awarded. But the Match on Main was, you pick 2 from your community and that's all you can have. And then then the community submits them. And at the end, because of staffing changes at City Hall, there were 2, and I did write those by myself, really at the very last minute. And I couldn't get them both because they're not going to give them to one community. They're only going to pick one. But we got one for Jennifer Shorter for an addition to where Traverse Cabin used to be. She's going to put a candy store down there. And I felt bad because Ben applied as well. But you know, once it leaves Petoskey, it goes to the state, and they're the people who pick. And so they have the criteria that they use. And I did request that background material, that information. I haven't received it yet. Would help in the future to know what their reasoning was. It might have been just they were great projects, but you got to pick one. You know, I don't know. So we'll have a new business brought to downtown and use up an underutilized space. And I was really pleased that that was a success. It's $25,000 grant. So, and you know what? If Andy hadn't been working here, I would not have been able to even look at it. I mean, she hadn't quite started yet, but there just wasn't ever time. So as you move ahead and you have different job descriptions and different roles for people to play, you might be able to get more of that done because it takes time.
Well, and that, I was curious because I know we went back and forth with Crooked Tree about that, and just the time that it was posted as available and turning it around. I mean, it was almost like, 10 days or something
Right.
like that. Is that something moving forward that we might have more notice?
That the state is how can I they're just famous for that. They post these things and they just put them out there, and you got to respond on that minute.
Okay.
Now, if you know, if you're a staff person and you know the cycle and you know what to kind of look for, and that it's not the same every year, but you have in your head, I need to set aside some time to do these kinds of things, then you're going to be better prepared for when they do come out. But I've never had the time to do it,
Right.
especially in the last year, especially
Yeah.
since COVID. I haven't had a chance to even really look.
Right.
So, yeah,
Okay.
that is something I hope that the new person gets the time given to them to look at that a lot more. So,
Thank you.
any other questions about? And I thought that we would just have Andy talk a little bit about being back and what she's been doing and
Hi, my name's Andy. I am the new marketing and promotions director for downtown. Been back for a couple weeks. I have been walking around and visiting the stores. And I passed out a little flyer with some important summer dates on it to hold. And people really seem to like that. Paul at Murdix was super excited. So it was nice to see a bunch of people handed those things out. I'm working on the shopping map right now, which is a quick turnaround. Sending that to Mitchell Graphics in the beginning of May, and then that'll be printed right before Memorial Day, and then we'll deliver it before in stores before Memorial Day weekend. And then just getting things transferred over from summer and working on the website and getting reacquainted with all of that. And then just helping Becky get out of the weeds a little bit, which is nice. So been enjoying it.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
I forgot 2 things. Okay, before Andy came, I had sent out an email for people who want to sponsor movies in the park. Because we said we would not do movies in the park unless we could get sponsors this year. And I also sent out an email for people who wanted to do the pop-up events. The deadlines for both of those are May 8th. I have 2 people interested in the pop-up events. But I have not gotten anything for the movies in the park at all. But Andy's gonna be promoting that further, pushing that on MailChimp and on the Facebook page.
Email and stuff.
Yeah, so that it's not over yet, but if it's not even, even, we said this at budget time, if we can't get people to do it, then we can't be spending the money that we have on that kind of event. So that's just an update on it.
What is the cost of the movie?
I think it was $300.
Yeah, like each movie, I'd say is like at least 3.
Oh, the movies are at least $300.
Yeah.
But I think the sponsorship was $300 that we asked for.
Just $300?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's it.
But didn't we also say the attendance was?
Yeah, well, last year
So
it
that's
was, yeah,
right.
yeah.
What happened at the time when all the
I
stores?
paid last year $400 to $500 for movies, but I can't remember, to tell you the honest truth, what we asked for in the sponsorship, but I think we asked for $300 for business. Do any of you remember? Because you got the email. But we would think that the stores that are open at that time, we're trying to do something for those kinds of businesses. The ice cream stores, the pretzel shop, the ones that are open late at night and could benefit from it. But anyone could benefit from a sponsorship because you get your name, you get on the website, you get this little commercial that they play before the movie for you. So I don't know, we'll push it harder. Yes, attendance last year was abysmal.
Because why did it change?
I think everything has a time and it has a place. And there was a big push to do movies in the park 10, 11 years ago. And my opinion on this, it's just my opinion as a grandma. I see my kids when I go see them and they don't even watch a movie anymore. They watch a scene from something. And I want to see the Happy Feet dance, but they can go right to, it's Netflix. They can go right to what they want to see. They don't have to sit down and watch anything. It's all right there on the television and their screen is huge and it's all day long. It's not special anymore.
Yeah.
So unless we can sell the experience and sell the fact you're sitting on soggy, wet ground. It's right, bring your sweater and your blanket, but no, unless we can sell that experience, they get it.
Maybe it's a thing of the past.
I think it might be. I think
Or
it's
something
outgrowing.
like
Yeah.
once a year for something really special or something.
Netflix
I could see.
Right.
So late at night.
Well, they don't start until 10
It's
o'clock.
gotta be dark.
Yeah,
And
And then it's-
7-year-old down there.
and movies are 2 hours,
Yeah. So I just think the desire for it has changed, basically. And that Netflix experience might add into that, but it was the thing years ago.
Yeah, we had really good attendance in the past, but
We've had over 100 people in the past.
Oh, yeah, you'd drive by and see if it was packed.
Mhm.
yeah.
Like you say, my ex-job, we drove by and it was
Embarrassing.
30,
Mhm.
maybe.
Any other questions?
At the beginning, yeah.
No? Anything else? What about are you done then?
Yep.
Okay. What about the reports by city staff? Do you have anything to add, John?
What would you like to know?
Anything you have to
At
offer?
city council last night, we discussed, Maple Block.
Hmm,
We saw the proposal for Maple Block, that project will-
Sorry.
that project will run roughly a little over $51 million. They will still be coming to the city asking for funds for brownfield and TIF. That was the biggest part of city council last night.
what's a timeline for something like that?
Timeline is very short. I think within 3 months, they want to know, go hit the dirt.
But what's the timeline for like completion?
Huh?
What about completion ballpark?
They didn't give us a completion date. My thing is, as you know, is sunset clause. If you start something, if we give you a permit to go, like say Pennies, there should be a sunset clause. You need to have it done by this date, or you have to start all over again.
You have to start all over again, getting permission to give
Giving
you
the
permission.
permissions and start again.
This is the,
Maple Block,
the living.
yes,
that- Okay.
220, I believe, units. A majority of them, it's pretty much split 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. I think the cost is going to be about $1,200 and $1,800 a month. I know that sounds high. I thought it sounded high. But it is what it is. The pickleball court and the dog park will be not publicly available. It sounds like that it will be for the residents. They also have a pool in the thing, which will not be accessible to the public. There's a difference between a PUD, which it wasn't. If you do a PUD, then you have to designate some benefit to the community. And this is not gone along that line. So we'll probably be back looking for a dog park. Anybody have a big backyard?
It's already a dog park.
Huh? We already have a dog park. When you look out here, people run and throw frisbees up at Lockwood. I mean, we have dog parks because we don't enforce the leash laws normally. So people are out there throwing frisbees and balls and stuff and chasing around with their dogs now. The other thing we talked about was a ethics policy or some policies such as that. It was tabled because the thing is about this thick from the state and everybody wants some time to look it over, make better decisions on it. That was about it for the agenda.
And that ethics policy would affect this board as well, and staff. So.
And we're taking it out of the state stuff as well. The art project for the community report on that is going well. I expect within the next months we'll be going to city council discussing the a board that has already been basically a informal board is meeting right now. Megan's one of those. Becky's one of those. Kendall, the city manager. And what we would be doing is actually identifying that as a city board or commission. We would then be working right now on a relationship with Crooked Tree because they would be the ones that would do the paperwork for this of putting out the proposal calls. We have Tom Moran, who from Moran Steel, who a long time ago was involved with this in the city, actually 10, 20 years ago. He's going to be involved with this again. We're looking at keeping it not on private property, but it will all be public, not private, but public property. The river, the mouth, downtown, it'll be out in public. So there will be the group, the board will then identify 5 to 7 people that would be on a art selection committee. It would vary according to the type of art possibly. Whether it be a mural, whether it would be a sculpture. And they would be the selection, they would select the art, have an input on that. That would give more people in this community an opportunity to be involved with the community process. Hoping to get some from different parts of the city, so nobody feels left out that our ward or our district isn't involved with this. My goal is, I think the group's goal is to have 1 or 2 pieces of art yet this year.
And you remember you put $10,000 in your budget to go toward this project.
And I advocated for it at the end of the budget thing for the city and said we need $40,000, so they went along with the city council. So we have 40,000 plus your 10, so there's $50,000 to work with. So it's time. It's time to move forward. Like other communities have beautiful art, as you know. Every place you go has some kind of art now in their community. We basically have a lot of natural art, but I think we could also step our plate up on that.
And this isn't talking about like painted turtles or sailboats or
No.
whatever it is all over the place. This is just to make that clear.
Think of the college, think of what the college has up there. You know, I'm sure it'll be, it's some rendition of this similar to the college art where it will be, you know, mostly abstract probably, but it'll be out in the public with enough people weighing in so that hopefully we'll have it would come back to the final board for approval just because we are worried of what kind of art it is. We have to be knowledgeable of the moral, the makeup of our community and not the offensive art. So it will be a 2-step process to make sure that people will grab it, will accept it.
What was the feedback at the meeting last night about that?
Oh, great.
Good.
Yeah. I asked if anybody had any complaints or comments or issues or have questions, and nobody had a question. They're glad it's moving forward. We have total support with city council, which we didn't in the past years. So it's a real plus. If you guys have suggestions or ideas, of course. Phone call, say, hey. That's about all for city. It was boilerplate stuff of approval of diggings and plumbing or a new tank for the gas. We have a brand new gas tank going in for the fuel, like double capacity, a very large tank. What I like is the city's doing maintenance on stuff. We're not waiting until it breaks down to take care of it, which is what I've always advocated for us. You know, whatever we do, we need to make sure we have the ability to maintain that and to repair and to take up. Oh, and the clock will be up and running. The clock will be up and running May 3rd. That clock will be, it'll have 2 new hands. It will be running on all sides.
All right.
Is that exciting?
It is. Yeah.
You don't know how many calls I've gotten about the clock.
The clock.
One of the arms isn't moving. Did you know your clock is not moving? One arm is and the other one isn't. Thank you. Voters will call.
That's funny.
Becky, anything else?
No, I didn't think you were gonna get to the clock and I was gonna be on that.
That got the biggest happy news was. the
Yeah,
clock.
that is pretty good. I get everybody gets questions on that.
Most expensive, $140,000 repair, I believe, or thereabouts. It started at 60 or 70, and then it doubled when they opened it up and they found everything was corroded, and so the entire guts is new. It's all LED electronic, so it's damn well better outlive all of us sitting here. If you're around and it's not, remember and come back to city council and say, check the warranty.
Well, how long does it take to install that?
Within the day. It's you'll see the fire truck down here and stuff like this, or it'll be it's a big box that would be put inside of it. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you know where that clock came from, that was at the county, the city county building, where the county building is now. It was a great big, large brick building, very large. Stairs that were 12, 15 feet across to go up from one floor to the next. It was massive. And that was on the top of the county building.
So the tower was new when the
The
waterfront was revitalized, but the clock wasn't.
right.
Okay.
The clock is a.
It was in the museum for a while. It went
Yeah.
from the county to the museum, rough, and then
Yeah.
it came over here.
Things probably, I don't know, well over 100 years
Oh,
old.
I'm sure.
$1,000 a year.
So like I say, if you're around and the clock stops. And I probably won't be here, but make sure to ask about the warranty on the deal, because it should be a lifetime warranty on that sucker.
It's on ticking.
That's all.
Anything else from anybody? Well, looks like this meeting's adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight.